negative.
What, named after the dog?
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
All right, welcome to it.
Yes, have some.
And the Nation of Jake is on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com, streaming live on YouTube, the YouTube channel Nation of Jake. Just go find it there. Very simple. You can also follow along on Facebook and on Twitter at Nation of Jake. All right, so today, Monday, July 8th, year of our Lord 2019, hot, gross, 92 degrees, high of 94. This is a good day to go over to the old Circle K where they got the beer cave. You know, go into the beer cave, grab some cases of beer. You're not going to buy this beer. You're going to build a throne of cold beer in the beer cave there, and then you're going to drop your pants and then sit atop your throne. You got a good 10, 15 minutes before the guy working the counter will notice what you're doing, and that's enough time to cool off. Now, you will not be going back to the beer cave. You will be asked never to come back to the Circle K. But lucky for you, there are multiple Circle Ks all summer where you can go in and drop your pants in the beer cave to cool off. Feels like 104 out there. Humid, nasty. Drop trowel in the beer cave and sit upon your cold beer throne. And for a few minutes, it's worth a shot. Just go ahead and try that out if you'd like. All right, so we got a lot to get into today on this Monday. We got a little dust-up between Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris and U of M President David Rudd. We'll explore that beef. We've got this big headline about this Epstein fella, Jeffrey Epstein. I had never heard of Jeffrey Epstein before, but apparently he's a pretty bad guy who's got some sort of child sex island that Bill Clinton had been to many, many times. Now, this is all hearsay at this point, but there are a lot of people who are tight with this Jeffrey Epstein guy. I hope it's not the same Epstein from Welcome Back, Kotter. Nah, that would be depressing if Epstein were to fall into a life of child sex trafficking. We'll get into that as well. We bid farewell to a 2020 Democrat presidential candidate, the first to drop out of the crowded race. To find out who that is, we'll talk about him in just a little bit. But as we say farewell to this candidate, his name sounds a lot like farewell. Fare thee well, sir. We'll get into that as well. Congrats to the U.S. women's national team. World Cup champions once again. I think there have been 8 women's World Cups, and the U.S. women's team has won 4 of them. Like exactly half the World Cups now belong to the U.S. national team. They beat the Nether Regions 2-0 in the final. I guess I would say 2-0 against the old Nether Regions. And so let me be the first to say this. Thank God it's over. Thank God the World Cup is over. No disrespect to the U.S. women's national team, but all the coverage around it, it's just tiring, isn't it? I mean, it's not even about soccer. It's about beefing with the president and disrespecting the flag, who didn't sing the anthem, who did sing the anthem, who's going to the White House. And now this equal pay thing is the big discussion they want to have now about equal pay. And let me just explain, these ladies do not want equal pay. And I'll tell you why they don't want equal pay in just a little bit. First up, though, it's just something I learned over the weekend. I had not heard of this. And have you guys heard of the Real ID? Yeah, you got to get a Real ID by next fall, because then you won't have a fake ID. Now, this isn't like a Real ID versus fake ID. All right, that would be different. I'm not talking about fake IDs. You know, you find a talented high school senior who can make you a fake ID back in the day when you needed something. You know, you need a fake ID if you wanted to vote. Let's say you wanted to vote in an election. You need an ID that says you are 21 years old or 18, whatever the voting age is. I guess it's 18. So you would get somebody, you know, to make you a fake ID so you could partake in the political process because you just couldn't wait. Yeah, some kids used them to smoke. Some kids use fake IDs to go get beer. Some kids use fake IDs to go get in the strip club. But most kids at least guys I ran around with, they got their fake IDs to vote. This is not what this is about. This is a real ID. You're going to have one if you fly. What's this all about? All right, if you use your driver's license to fly, you may be in violation of FAA rules. All right, FAA guidelines probably require you to have a pilot's license to fly, but that's not what this means either. If you use your driver's license to fly commercial airlines, to travel on an airplane, you'll need to renew it and get a real ID. Or beginning October 1st, you might not be able to pass airport security. The state of Tennessee began issuing real IDs Monday, today. And if you plan on entering federal buildings, nuclear sites, or taking a vacation on a commercial airliner, you'll need to head over to the DMV to renew your license. All right, so this real ID, it's got a gold star on it. And with this real ID, you'll be able to use your state-issued identification to board a plane. Now, you might be saying, hold on a second, I can already do that. Why can't I do that? Well, this has been in the works for a long time, apparently, and I just heard about it yesterday. Real ID began as a response to 9/11. 4 years after the terrorist attacks on September 11th, 2001, Congress passed the Real ID Act based on recommendations from the 9/11 Commission to set minimum nationwide security standards for driver's licenses according to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Real IDs are designed by a gold star on the license, I should say designated by a gold star on the license as part of the new design, but they'll also include heightened security features like holograms that make them difficult to copy. All right, so 4 years after the 9/11 attacks in 2001. So in 2005, Congress said 15 years from now, we need new IDs with a gold star and holograms. So I guess a federal layer of protection on state-issued IDs some 15 years after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. I feel safer already, don't you? Yeah, just an extra layer of protection on that ID, a yellow star, and maybe a holographic sleeve. Real ID lets you continue to use your license to fly and access federal sites. So, if you don't have a real ID, you'll have to have an alternate means of identification. Now, you can still drive and use your current license in your state, but only the new state-issued Real ID licenses that meet the stricter national standards will be accepted as ID for entering federal government offices, nuclear power plants, or federally regulated commercial airline flights. The law doesn't require Real ID at federal sites where none is needed now. So, like if you want to go to the Smithsonian, you can go with your regularly issued state ID. Other forms of high security ID like U.S. passports are still valid. It does not cost more than a regular license renewal. The Real ID will cost the same as a standard renewal of an expiring license. It's $28. If you want to get a Real ID before your current license is due to expire, it'll cost the standard charge of a replacement license, $8 for the first, $12 for the second or third replacement. And you have until fall of 2020, so October 1st, to get your Real ID. No need to rush, though, because you've got until October 1st. But if you just got a new license, you're going to have to get a replacement license with the Real ID if you want it. Otherwise, you're just going to have to travel around with your passport, whether you're going to Singapore or whether you're going to Paris, Texas. If you're going to get on a flight domestically, you'll have to have a passport or a passport card. You can also use your permanent resident card, your border crossing card, all these things that you don't have or you're not going to carry around with you. So you're getting a new license. It's going to have some new stuff on it. And I had no idea this was coming. Apparently, this was a response to the largest attack on American soil since Pearl Harbor being 9/11. And I had no idea it was coming until Wolfman asked me, oh, you're getting your Real ID? A little gold star on it so you can get on a plane? I was like, I had no idea. So, You learn stuff here in the Nation of Jake as I'm learning it. Honestly, I mean, does this count as like a TSA pre-check? Is there any other benefit other than, hey, what you were able to do with your license yesterday, you cannot do with that license anymore. You need this license. Well, is there any other standard? Do I have to prove anything else? I mean, it's just the same license with a gold star and a hologram on it. There's no stricter scrutiny for me to obtain the license. So what is the difference? What is it? Are you still going to grope me and grab me at the airport if you decide, hey, there's somebody I want to grope and grab? How do you determine that anyway? Like, hey, yeah, I need to pat down that guy. Yeah, I'm going to go right up the inseam, get a handful in his crotchin area. Yeah, I've always wondered about that. Can the real ID save me from that humiliation, please? So, it's goofy. Let's just make it harder on people to fly. That's all they ever do. With the TSA checks that don't work, 90% of weapons get through the TSA when they actually tested them, and then we got the solution. Somebody's sitting around in 2005. By the year 2020, we're gonna put a gold star and a hologram on all the IDs. Boom! We're safe, everybody. Homeland Security making us safe. There you have it. All right, there's a beef brewing. It's already brewed. It's bubbling over. We've got the president of the U of M. He does not like what Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris is dictating over there with his veto of $1 million for a swimming facility. David Rudd from the U of M took exception to the veto, saying, hey, you're asking me to do stuff quid pro quo, and that's just not how we do them around here. We'll get into the guts of this little dust-up coming up next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs, those little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows, storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Dan Groban and Phil Menard at Servant Advisors Group call this mailbox money. It's the monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They want to help remove stress from your retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Servant Advisors Group at 855-260-1000 for a complimentary retirement analysis with strategies that could help your nest egg provide you monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call right now, 855-260-1000. Servant Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Servant Advisors Group, LLC. Insurance licensed in Tennessee, Mississippi, and in Arkansas.
I'm Ed Harrell, founder of the Kindness Revolution. I've got some good news. Kindness is all around us. Our challenge then is simple. Look for it and talk about it. By talking about kindness to our families, friends, co-workers, and on social media, we can raise its awareness. Look for kindness at your local retail establishments, where employees are doing their best to serve you. When you experience that sense of good, let them know. It doesn't hurt to take a minute and let their managers know as well. Look for it at your school, where teachers are doing their best every day. Ditto on letting them and their administrators know as well. They may be more underappreciated as a profession in our communities than anyone else today. Look for it in your first responders. They're ready to sacrifice their safety for your safety and deserve our appreciation. Look for kindness. You'll find it all around you. To learn more, check us out at thekindnessrevolution.net.
Tune in to Mind Your Business, hosted by Ronald Meredith of the Financial Center, every Sunday at 3 p.m. on The Voice. Ronald talks to local and national business and political leaders that will share what it takes to influence others and achieve high results. The ins and outs of planning a new business, raising the money you need, and making connections that count, and so much more. Join us every Sunday at 3 p.m. for Mind Your Business, right here on KWAM The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Hello, I'm Bishop Terry Stive, Bishop of Memphis in Tennessee, and I invite you to join us each week for the Catholic Cafe.
And I'm your host, Deacon Jeff, here to tell you about the wonderful sponsors that make the Catholic Cafe possible. Part apothecary, part boutique, Apothetique, in the Avenue at Carriage Crossing in Collierville. Listen to a full hour of the Catholic Cafe, Sundays starting at 10 a.m., right here at KWAM, the voice of Memphis.
Triumph Bank strives to make banking easy for our customers. You have a lot of choices when it comes to banks, so we invite you to visit one of our local offices in Memphis, Germantown, Collierville, and Arlington to see for yourself how our team, backed by our state-of-the-art online and mobile services, can simplify banking for you and your business. Triumph Bank, invested in our communities and making banking easy for you. Triumph is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. TriumphBank.com. Let's talk growth.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake is on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Yeah, we're streaming on Facebook. Just go find Nation of Jake on Facebook, the YouTube channel, Nation of Jake on YouTube, also on Twitter at Nation of Jake. In a little bit, we're going to talk about the U.S. women's national team after their 2-0 win in the World Cup championship game against the Netherlands. The chants were for equal pay. That's right, equal pay. But they don't want equal pay. I'll tell you why in just a few minutes. The goal is not equal pay. All right, would they like to make what the men make? Sure. But the goal is not equal pay. We'll get into that. First, though, I saw this. I was surprised. I did not know that there was any bad blood, any beef between Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris and President David Rudd of the U of M. I'm not sure anybody else knew. But we've got Mayor Lee Harris exercising the strong arm of the veto. That's right, the veto. I don't know if they can do like line item vetoes in the Shelby County government, but Lee Harris has opposed $1 million in funding to the U of M's swimming facility. All right, in his first such action as Shelby County Mayor, Lee Harris has vetoed a $1 million grant to the U of M for the renovation of its swimming facilities. Now, I'm wondering why the U of M needs $1 million to upgrade the swimming facilities from the county. Largely, I'm skeptical of this kind of transfer of funds, but it is a public university, and I have kind of given up on, go find the means through private donations. I'm sure plenty of that is coming in, but often a public university will get a little bit of public funding for things such as this. Well, the reason that Lee Harris has decided to go ahead and veto this $1 million for the swimming facility is that several groups have called on him to oppose the project until the U of M presents a timeline or plan to bring its lowest paid workers up to a living wage. So this kind of sounds like a quid pro quo kind of deal. Lee Harris says, look, we will not give you this $1 million for the swimming facility until you do something we want you to do, and that is pay a living wage. All right, and the living wage, I'm not sure what it is. I hear $15 an hour from all the McDonald's people. They're fighting for $15. There's something about $15 an hour, the magic number that'll make all your problems go away. That's right. Not many people know what they're worth in this world, but these folks, with their signs outside of the McDonald's, they know. $15 an hour, which is roughly 30 grand a year. If you work 40 hours a week, that's 2,080 working hours in a year. All right. Currently, more than 330 university employees make $11.11 an hour, according to a letter from Lee Harris to Shelby County commissioners. The living wage in Shelby County is $11.07 an hour. Wait a second. $11.07 an hour for a single adult with no children. And it says here, more than 330 university employees make $11.11 an hour. So that kind of doesn't that meet the living wage? Does it not? Well, I thought the whole deal was Lee Harris didn't want to give them the $1 million for the swimming facility until they were paying a living wage. Well, they do pay a living wage. $11.11, last I checked, is more than $11.07. $11.07 being the living wage. But it says $22.09 an hour is the living wage for an adult with one child. And this is all according to Lee Harris. He goes on. I believe issues of poverty that continue to persist in our community are interconnected to decisions like this one, Harris wrote in the letter. Most of the University of Memphis employees in question are women, and most are African American. Many of these workers, no doubt, have children and families who rely on their work. So when you hire somebody to do a job, you have to consider how many people are in their family now. I'm not so sure you're even allowed to ask that. I don't think that that's something you can do in an interview. Ask somebody if they're married. You can't ask marital status. You can't ask how many kids somebody has. You can't do any of that kind of stuff. It can't be a factor. So I just go back to Lee Harris says that 330 employees at U of M make $11.11 an hour, and that $11.07 is the living wage for somebody in Shelby County. What's the problem? What's the holdup? Come off the $1 million. Why are you vetoing? What are you doing, Lee Harris? It doesn't add up. So they want $15 an hour to be the ultimate end, 15 or 16. But that doesn't bring you close enough to the $22.09 for an adult with one child. So why is the big question is, why is that all part of the calculus? Look, you're paying one person to do a job. And I don't even believe in a minimum wage at all, to be honest with you. I don't think that the government should step in and start regulating what two grown adults, consenting adults, arrange. If I wanted to work for $5 an hour because I value the experience over the money, I should be able to make that decision. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get back to this beef between Lee Harris. So, Lee Harris feeling the pressure from all these groups, several groups, to get U of M to raise their starting pay to somewhere above the $11.11 an hour that they're currently paying, or else they're just not going to give them the funding for this swimming facility. So just to be sure here, just to make it very clear, Mayor Lee Harris is not opposed to coming off the $1 million. It's not an issue of whether or not it's appropriate for the Shelby County Commission to approve this, or for Shelby County to transfer the money. That's not the issue. The issue is not the money. The issue is, we will not do for you until you do for us. Quid pro quo. Well, President David Rudd of the U of M, he doesn't like it too much. The president, David Rudd, attacked Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris's veto of the $1 million granted to the university, accusing Harris of trying to influence the university's policies by offering funding. The quid pro quo, Clarice. I report to the Board of Trustees, not the county mayor, wrote U of M President David Rudd in a letter to Harris. Harris's veto represents a potential serious ethical breach for our university and a potential violation of an accreditation standard. Harris vetoed the $1 million for renovations, and now President David Rudd is not happy about it. In fact, President David Rudd is saying, hey, look, we've already put in a plan to get our starting pay up to $15 or $16 an hour, but we're not going to do it because you're threatening to veto. So it's already been a plan. Like, we've already planned on this. It's something we're already doing. President Rudd is saying, A, we're already paying the living wage. B, we're on our way to raising it. And now you're withholding funding for a previously agreed upon sum of $1 million for this swimming facility. You're trying to make it political. Even Van Turner over at the Shelby County Commission is saying this is completely unnecessary and we're going to override this. You know, we can get together with our folks at the U of M. We've got a good relationship with them and we'll get this worked out. No need to all the bad blood with a veto. And here's what's crazy. Lee Harris for 14 years was a professor at University of Memphis. And I believe that his wife is still there on staff at U of M. So, David Rudd, none too happy about it. And now he's accusing him of, hey, this is an exchange of money for direct influence on the operational pay policies of the university. Our accreditation standards are very clear, saying, hey, we can't do this. This is not cool. This is not good. And also, how about, the decisions? Lee Harris wants to talk about decisions made that have a direct impact on, people who are making below this $11.07 living wage, which it's just an arbitrary number. That people, oh, hey, look, if you just did this budget, here's our template for a budget. Here's what somebody would have to make a living wage. People make it happen on less than $11 an hour. You got to get creative. Sure. Nobody wants to make less money. Everybody wants to make more money, but you want to go out and earn it, right? You don't want the government to tell somebody to pay you more. That's not the way this whole dynamic works. That said, Shelby County Commission has no problem giving $10 million to the Memphis River Parks Partnership for their Tom Lee project, which has been billed as privately funded. They're going out saying, oh, listen, we got this great plan, this great design. We've consulted everybody about it. Everybody loves it. All 12 people that we put it in front of. It's going to be privately funded. We got all these donors. By the way, we need $30 million in public funding. We need 10 from the city, $10 million from the state, and then $10 million from the Shelby County Commission. I guess there was no way to leverage that into your living wage. I guess there were no groups pressuring you guys not to give $10 million to Memphis River Parks Partnership. I mean, was that just not a political opportunity? Listen, I'll get on board all day if Lee Harris says, look, we're not spending any public funds on it because you guys have so much access to private funds for it. I'm on board, Lee Harris. I'm cool with that, right? Hey, we don't have the money and we don't need it. Vote no. Vote no. We don't need it. We can't afford it. I'm fine with that. But then when you get on board with, oh, no, listen, I got no problem coming off the $1 million, but you got to do things the way I want you to do them in order to get it. That's where the beef comes in. President David Rudd, he doesn't like it, and that's also I don't like government to work like that either. So that's we'll see how Lee Harris responds. I think this thing will probably get overridden by the Shelby County Commission. That might be a little bit of embarrassing for Mayor Lee Harris. That said, who the hell pays attention to the county mayor anyway? I don't usually. I just he's just there, more of an administrative role than a real executive role. But maybe he's trying to change that by, holding $1 million in funding over people's heads so they'll do business the way he wants them to do it. I think there is an ethical question and some concerns, and David Rudd, the president of the University of Memphis, is right to bring those up. All right, coming up in a little bit, birds aren't real. Apparently, I saw a billboard that birds aren't real. I was out on Highland. You look up, no other information other than that birds aren't real. But coming up in a few minutes, I'm going to tell you why the U.S. women's national team, they might say they want equal pay. And that'll be the hashtag, that'll be the rallying cry. But I want to make it very clear, they do not want equal pay. It's not about equal pay. It's about something else. And that's coming up next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News Update. More than a decade after working out a secret plea deal involving sex charges with minors in Florida, hedge fund manager Jeffrey Epstein is facing similar charges in New York. He's pleaded not guilty. The FBI's William Sweeney says Epstein allegedly preyed upon young teens.
The estimated dozens of victims were as young as 14 years old. Children who provided Epstein massages while they were nude or partially nude. Children who were asked to engage in direct and indirect sex acts for money. Children who were enticed to do all these things at the hands of a man more than or nearly 3 times their age.
U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman wants Epstein in jail pending trial.
He has enormous wealth. The charges are very serious, and they carry with them a maximum sentence of 45 years in jail, which to someone of Epstein's age is basically a life sentence.
Epstein will remain in jail until a Thursday hearing. CBS News Update, I'm Pam Coulter.
Brown Properties. They specialize in commercial and industrial real estate in all of North Mississippi.
He helped me locate a space and helped me get in so easily. The most professional, most accommodating person that I have ever worked with in my professional career.
I would absolutely recommend Jim Brown very highly. As a matter of fact, he'll be my real estate agent from now into the future for sure.
Hi, I'm Jim Brown with Brown Properties, commercial industrial real estate located in South Haven, Mississippi. Call me at 662-393-2255.
This is Clark Howard. Recently, I talked about the problem with cars that have keyless entry, where you have a fob, there's no key that you have to turn, you just hit a start button. And the problem with people dying, because when they get home, they'll be distracted on a phone call, or they'll be getting groceries out or whatever. They forget to turn the car off, and then they die from carbon monoxide poisoning, the silent killer. Well, there's a very simple way for you to take care of this that I neglected to say, and that is you need to have carbon monoxide detectors in your home anyway. They're as cheap now as $12, usually more like $20. You buy them, you put them all around your house. I know this goes into the territory of paranoia, but being killed silently, that's not my idea of fun. So particularly if you have a car with a keyless remote, put in more carbon monoxide detectors in your home.
Have you heard what President Trump said recently?
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too.
Now you can watch Newsmax TV and get the truth about Trump from Bill O'Reilly, Mike Reagan, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, and more. Newsmax TV is America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in 70 million homes. Find Newsmax on DirecTV, Dish, Xfinity, Spectrum, Optimum, Fios, Uverse, and more systems. See Newsmax TV today. It's real news for real people.
Hey, Mike, how's the house coming along? Needs a ton of work. The pipes are leaking. Needs a new roof. The AC just broke. I just don't have time to do it all myself. You know anyone?
Oh, just ask Home Advisor. They match you with the best local pros for any home project.
Cool.
Yeah, you can read reviews and book appointments online.
What's it cost?
Actually, Home Advisor is always free to use.
Nice. I'll check it out.
Go to homeadvisor.com or download the free app.
Home Advisor.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. Online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube, the channel Nation of Jake. Run it all together. One word, Nation of Jake. You can also hit me up on Facebook if you'd like. Nation of Jake on Facebook, Nation of Jake on Twitter, Nation of Jake on Instagram. Anywhere you go on the old interwebs, Nation of Jake is where you can find me. All right, so congratulations to the U.S. women's national team beating the Nether Regions 2-0 in the finals of the World Cup. They've won 4 World Cups. In 28 years, I guess, there's been 8 Women's World Cups, I'm told, and they've won 4 of them. All right? We get it. USA women dominate in soccer. Awesome achievement. Go USA. And thank God this whole thing's over. All right. And again, this is not about soccer. I've grown to really like and appreciate the game. All right. I've coached one game of girls soccer. I won 10-0. It was a bloodbath, and it's about my coaching. Sure, it was a silent sideline Saturday when I wasn't supposed to say anything to the girls, and they went out there and just kind of dominated on their own, but I was the coach of record. All right, so I now consider myself an expert on these matters. A few things about the World Cup that I will not miss, and why I will not miss this is A, my sister, who I love very much, who was a high school soccer player. She played in college. She continues to play to this day. All right, she loves soccer. But she invites you over for these watch parties and then doesn't let you talk or ask questions or have fun. She shushes you. She mean mugs you if you make a sound. You know, you go over to the refrigerator to get some ice, and she's like, I'm going to say, watch the game. Just watch the game. Just watch the game, okay? And then you can't have any fun. So I last maybe a half. And then I have to bail. So she gets real serious every 4 years about soccer. And so it's not fun to watch with her, even though she's like the person in my life who loves the soccer the most. And I want to enjoy it with the people who love it, right? But you can't. Can't ask questions, can't make any observations, any comments at all. So that's not fun. Also, the coverage is really, it's bogus, man. Seriously, I want to know, listen, soccer is this. Let's talk about the game. And especially if it's a national team, we're beating up on other nations. Let's talk about the game of soccer, the great plays, the goals, the taunting. How awesome was the taunting with the sipping the tea with Alex Morgan? No, but instead, all I'm inundated with is Megan Rapinoe. Too much Megan Rapinoe, not enough Alex Morgan. All right? Megan Rapinoe won't sing the anthem. I don't sing the anthem either. Megan Rapinoe, she's feuding with Trump. Megan Rapinoe this, Megan Rapinoe that. It's like there's like 24 other women on that team, okay? But she gets all the ink, right? And even when another player does something, it's something goofy. Allie Long, I saw this today. Allie Long of the U.S. Women's National Team briefly drops American flag during World Cup celebration. Kelly O'Hara picks it up. Oh, thank God. Thank God that Kelly O'Hara picked it up. Or else, Allie Long in her celebration, maybe not thinking about it. Maybe she thought other people were also holding the flag and that she could maybe let go and maybe celebrate in a different way. It's over the top. We should be celebrating a U.S. victory. We should be making fun of all the other loser countries that did not win the World Cup in the name of sportsmanship. But instead, we're inundated with this. Oh, will the U.S. women's team go to the White House? Oh, will Trump invite them? How will Donald Trump react? Oh, and the worst is this new deal with the whole hashtag equal pay thing. This is the most absurd argument of all time because the U.S. women's soccer team does not want equal pay. They want a raise. They want more money. All right? And here's the argument. The U.S. women's national team performs better against women on the national stage than men on the U.S. men's national team performs against men on the global stage. We're talking about two different sports, women's soccer and men's soccer. Two different sports, two different sports markets. But because the women have been so far ahead of the rest of the world the past 30 years, they want equal pay. And because the men have not qualified for the last couple of World Cups, even though they've got the best players in the world on the team, that somehow that warrants that the women make more money. Listen, if your argument is that we deserve more money because those people who are making more are terrible at their jobs, I'm looking at it as, hold on a second. Maybe you're not underpaid. Maybe these guys over here are overpaid. Hey, what's the deal with you guys? How about this? We're going to pay you what the women make. That'll be hashtag equal pay, won't it? Yeah, you're going to make $99,000 a year like the women. That's right. That's the number. It's about $5,000 a game for 20 exhibition matches for U.S. women's national team soccer. So it's about $99,000 a year. Now that's kind of like the going rate for, say, the best player. That's what your max is. Maybe, I don't know. It's about $100,000, right? So if U.S. Soccer says, "Hey, man, you know what? Rapinoe over here's got a point. You guys suck. You guys are terrible." They're talking about equal pay. We're taking your pay down to $99,000. Do you think that Megan Rapinoe would be okay with that? You think that any of these women would be okay with that? No, they would not. They don't want equal pay. They want more money. That's what they want. But it's this whole equal pay thing. Well, I would suggest that we just compare apples to apples, because that is really what's going to tell the tale. Let's compare what the U.S. women's national team makes compared to the teams that they beat, that they actually play. All right? In the global market. Because you're talking about a national team, your competition is the globe, right? The U.S. women's national team is essentially an all-star team. All the best players together on one team. Well, who the hell are they going to play domestically? Who are they going to play against, all right? This is different than the Women's Professional Soccer League. What was it, USWL? Is that what it's called? NSWL. What's the acronym, G-Man? Women's MLS. What's it called? NWSL. That's it. NWSL. And then MLS, right? Which is men's professional soccer. You know, you want to look at the disparities there. It's kind of the same. Men make more. There's more of a market for men's soccer than women's soccer, even though in the U.S., women's soccer is bigger at this point. They're more successful. They've gone to won multiple World Cups where the guys have kind of struggled on that. But just going back to it, $99,000 a year to play for the U.S. women's national team, that's way more than what other women's teams get paid around the globe. Whether it's the team they beat from the nether regions, or the team they beat from the UK, or the team they beat from whatever other country it is, this is actually the top paying women's soccer job in the U.S., about $100,000. Because again, let's go back to that NWSL. Let's go back to that. I believe that the max salary for a female soccer player in the NWSL is like $46,000, right? That's less than half of what you make playing for the U.S. women's national team. So it's kind of like the best deal going, right? Let's compare that to the men's game now, all right? Let's say that the best men's player in the MLS, Michael Bradley, that's a name that I've been told is one of the top players in the world. He makes $6 million base salary from Toronto FC. But on the U.S. men's national team, he would get paid about $260,000. So what's that tell you about the market for women's soccer? All right, I think that Megan Rapinoe was talking about this now. She was making her case for equal pay, but really for more money. We've got her talking after the all World Cup victory. If I can find there it is. Here's Megan Rapinoe, the star. She's got her purple hair going. Here's what she had to say.
I think everyone is ready for this conversation to move to the next step. I think we're done with the are we worth it? Should we have equal pay? Is it, is the markets the same? Yada, yada. Everyone's done with that. I mean,
okay, did she just yada, yada the free market? I think she did. Is the market the same? Yada, yada. It's very clear that the market is not the same. When a professional soccer player on the men's side in the MLS is making $6 million a year, whereas a professional female soccer player in the NWSL is making $46,000. There's a big difference in the market. Just because they put USA on the jersey, just because they play in the World Cup, does not change the market forces. It doesn't change it. But yeah, yada yada the free market. And here's a few numbers, and we'll get into more of the numbers in a little bit because it's eye-opening. From what I've gathered, if you want to take all the revenues generated by the World Cup, let's take this year's World Cup, 2019 Women's World Cup, something like $120 million, okay? Let's take the last Men's World Cup last year in Russia in 2018. The revenue generated by the Men's World Cup in Russia in 2018 was $6 billion. $6 billion with a B. That is bonkers. The disparity is insane. There's so much more money, and you can't just yada yada the market. All right, the women's game in the U.S. is ahead of where it is all across the world. Well, the men's game in the U.S. is kind of behind the rest of the world, but you're playing on the world stage. You're playing in a global market here. And just so you know, this is just like one of many different revenue streams for a female soccer player. All right, they don't just make the $99,000. That's a base salary for playing on the U.S. women's national team, something like 20 games. And you play the World Cup every 4 years. You're not playing this is an all-star team, is what this is. And we'll talk more about it, but it's not about equal pay. They want more money because I guarantee you, if the powers that be with USA Soccer said, you know what, Rapinoe's right, equal pay, the men are now making what the women make. The women would not be happy with that. They wouldn't be satisfied. They want more money. That's what it all comes down to. So, yeah, I mean, wouldn't it be nice if we were just talking about, oh, man, what a great first half against the nether regions. Oh, man, it was intense. 4 or 5 shots on goal. Oh, how about those saves? Oh, how about that performance? But no, instead, we're talking about politics. Ridiculous. USA. I just want to chant USA and make fun of English people. All right, coming up. Oh, are birds real? I'm told they're not. Have you seen this? Birds aren't real. I'll tell you what that means next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.crylike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.crylike.com.
Looking for a cool way to get a new home comfort system without breaking the bank? The Advantage program from Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning gets you a high-quality home comfort system for one low monthly rate. There's no money down, never a charge for repairs, and seasonal tune-ups are free. Right now, get a new home comfort system as low as $99 a month and no additional charges ever. Call Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning today at 866-EXPERTS or visit ServiceExpertsMemphis.com.
For expert service guaranteed, call 866-EXPERTS.
See website for license details.
Whatever you may be interested in, chances are you can find some valuable information in the July edition of The Best Times, now available on your local newsstand. Don't miss articles about elder abuse, the dangers of using marijuana, the value of lifelong learning, the myth of taking vitamin D to reduce development of type 2 diabetes, which CDs are best for you, legal documents that everyone should have to protect their assets, and so much more. The Best Times is available at all Kroger and CVS pharmacies. Get your copy today.
I'm Ed Parami, the owner of JanPro, the franchise that helps you be your own boss. JanPro is now the fastest growing franchise in the entire world for the second year in a row by Entrepreneur Magazine. We are growing so fast we need new business owners right here in Memphis right now. So if you want to be your own boss and open your own business, call JanPro at 901-683-4900 to see just how easy it is to be your own boss. For as little as $950 down, you can be a part of JanPro. Don't waste another minute. Call 901-683-4900.
To buy your home, you became a house hunting ace, learned about loans, scoured neighborhoods, and asked the right questions. Now you're queen of your castle. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you will feel empowered to own your retirement like you own your home. Go to aceyourretirement.org. Because when it comes to clearing financial hurdles, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back. The Nation of Jake is on The Voice.
Yes, have some.
FM 107.9 AM 990. Online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube. You check out the YouTube channel, Nation of Jake. Do that there. The podcast will be up shortly after the program concludes. All right, so on Friday night, I went out to the Bluff. It's on Highland. It's this place. It used to be the live room at Newbies. When you go into Newbies, you have the bar on the left side. On the right side, you have the live room. Well, that whole live room of Newbies is now called the Bluff, and it's just a restaurant, bar, venue on its own. Pretty nice place. I'd never been there before. I went there because there was a Van Halen tribute band playing. These guys are called the 84 Tribute. It's like 1984. They do all the DLR stuff. They do from 78 to 84. So Van Halen 1, 2, Diver Down, Fair Warning, Women and Children First, up to 84. All right, and they do a great job. The focal point is a kid. He's like 16 years old, and he does Eddie Van Halen as well as anybody I've ever seen. All right, the guy's got it nailed. He's got the Frankenstein guitar. He's got the tone. He's got everything. He did all of it. Eruption. They did all the stuff that you would expect to hear from a Van Halen tribute band. So Wolfman and I went out there. We had some beers. We rocked out to some Van Halen. It was a good time. So as we're walking back to the car, we see there on Highland, just above the Goodwill building there at Highland and Southern, a billboard that reads, "Birds aren't real." And that's the only thing on the billboard. There's no web address. There's no Twitter handle. Nothing. Just "Birds aren't real." And that's a pretty visible billboard. That's not cheap to do that. So Wolfman got curious, and he looked up birdsaren'treal.com. He reported to me that there's a conspiracy that's been going on for a long time. All right, now I have it here, and this is quite long and quite involved, this story about birds aren't real. It reads as follows. Warning, disturbing content. The only way to properly explain is with words. Buckle up. It is imperative that we discuss the methods that the government used to extinguish over 12 billion birds between 1959 and 1971. That's right. Let me read that again. It is imperative that we discuss the methods that the government used to extinguish over 12 billion birds between 1959 and 1971. If we are to make disciples of the Birds Aren't Real movement, we must equip each and every person with the knowledge of what truly happened in this saga of insanity and government corruption. Here are the facts and eyewitness accounts of various key events that occurred within our nation that completely destroyed every man, woman, and child bird in existence. 12 billion birds. All right, so it goes on to say that the head of the CIA from 53 to 61, Alan Welsh Dulles, he's a disgraceful human, and that it was his responsibility to slowly kill off all the birds. All right? $65 billion of public health funds towards the forced extinction of birds. And the birds that you see now are drones. They're robot birds. And this all goes back to JFK. Somebody eating JFK's ham sandwiches. This is high-level conspiracy stuff, and I'm going to read more into it, hopefully. Those in charge of the Birds Aren't Real movement will come on the program and tell us more about all these phony baloney birds that have been flying around. But I guess it raises the question, who's been crapping on my car?
KWAM, your news and information station with CBS News updates every hour on the hour. KWAM Memphis.
This is CBS News on the hour. Real news, real reporting.
I'm Pam Coulter.
Today, we announced the unsealing of sex trafficking charges against Jeffrey Epstein.
In New York, U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman making the announcement more than a decade after the billionaire hedge fund manager worked out a secret plea deal on similar charges in Florida.
The charges allege that Epstein sexually abused young girls by enticing them to engage in sex acts for money.
Legal analyst Ricky Kleeman.
I can speculate that the reason for why now goes back to November, December, and the tenacious reporting from the Miami Herald, which then brought this case back up to the attention of a federal judge in Miami, who is still in the process of dealing with justice for the victims in Miami.
Epstein is jailed until a Thursday hearing. The young man who accused actor Kevin Spacey of sexual assault denies altering text messages about the 2016 incident. CBS's Allison Keyes with the latest.
The lawyer for the alleged victim says the man dropped his civil suit against Spacey because he's on an emotional roller coaster and that the criminal case against Spacey is enough. The attorney also told the judge the man can't find the phone he was using the night he says Spacey groped him in 2016, but a copy of the contents was backed up to a computer. The alleged victim denies deleting or altering text messages about the incident.
A new legal strategy in the president's effort to include a citizenship question on the 2020 census. CBS's Steve Dorsey with more.
The Justice Department says a new team of lawyers is taking over the case. DOJ hasn't explained why. It follows remarks from the president saying he's, quote, very seriously considering an executive order to include the question on the census, even though printing has already begun. Civil rights groups say it would discourage immigrants from participating in the census.
Some encouraging news for earthquake-rattled residents of Southern California. CBS's Carter Evans.
The good news is the USGS says there's now just a 1% chance of a 7 magnitude or greater earthquake occurring in this area. Also, the chance of a 6 magnitude or greater is also diminishing.
Emergency officials conducted at least 30 water rescues in Montgomery County, Maryland, because of flash flooding caused by a heavy downpour. The National Weather Service's Corey Ledbetter.
We've definitely got several instances of flash flooding, just creeks rising very quickly out of their banks. When you get 6 inches of rain in the span of a couple hours, that's definitely abnormal.
On Wall Street, the Dow is down 141 points, NASDAQ off 69. This is CBS News.
She's brought us the world. Now, she brings us truth and understanding right when we need it most. The CBS Evening News with Norah O'Donnell, July 15th.
Oil investments involve a high degree of risk and are only suitable for SEC-accredited investors.
With the stock market at all-time highs, cash in your profits now and invest in a tax-advantaged asset that can potentially provide income for up to 20 years. Have you recently sold a business with major capital gains? Are you an ultra-high net worth investor? If you are an accredited investor, you can learn how to potentially achieve up to 20 years of income and deduct 100% of every dollar invested against all forms of income.
Call 1-800-278-7455. Encore is drilling in potentially one of the most prolific horizontal oil plays in the eastern U.S. next to proven production. Call 1-800-278-7455. If you're accredited and qualified to invest $250,000 or more, call 1-800-278-7455. You'll be calling directly to the home office of Encore Energy. That's 1-800-278-7455. 1-800-278-7455.
Someone is torching rainbow flags.
It's happened for the second time in just over a month. A rainbow flag in front of a New York City gay bar set on fire.
Someone will literally destroy the symbol of an entire group of people, that's the shocking part of it.
Owner Alexei Minko of the Alibi Lounge, just before the start of June's Pride Month, 2 rainbow flags were torched in front of his place. Police have been investigating a possible anti-gay bias, a possible hate crime. Minko says aside from the 2 fires, the club didn't receive any threats during or after Pride Month. Steve Kathan, CBS News, New York.
It was a rough start for some in the first day of the running of the bulls in Pamplona, Spain. The Red Cross says 3 people were gored and 2 suffered head trauma in the first day of the festival. Thousands of runners wearing white with red neckerchiefs gather every year for the morning run. Pam Coulter, CBS News.
You probably want to eat healthy, but getting enough organic fruits and vegetables into your diet every day is not only time-consuming, it's expensive. That's why at Texas Superfood, we've created a blend of the best USDA organic, vine-ripened fruits and vegetables, powerful enzymes and probiotics, and energizing herbs, all in a convenient capsule or powder. We call it Texas Superfood Complete Organic. Hi, I'm naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, and I invented Texas Superfood almost 20 years ago with one goal in mind: to help people like you who lead busy lives get the all-natural nutrition that every one of us needs and deserves. So if you can't, won't, or don't eat all your organic fruits and vegetables every day, Texas Superfood Complete Organic makes eating healthy easy. See our full line of quality nutritional products at TexasSuperfood.com or call us at 855-TEXAS-55. That's 855-TEXAS-55. TexasSuperfood.com.
Jay, I need my money. You want to work here, get them to sign on the line which is dotted.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9 AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube. The YouTube channel is Nation of Jake. You can follow along on Facebook, Nation of Jake there, and on Twitter at Nation of Jake. Hope you're doing all right, recovering from the July 4th weekend. Independence Day weekend is always a fun one, especially if you work at a place that says, hey, take off Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, man, 4-day weekend. We had a great time, did a lot of swimming with the little ones. Told you about the Van Halen tribute band I went to go see. I went to go see Spider-Man Far From Home. Got a lot done over the weekend, especially around the house too, man. I was running around with my shop vac, getting some things cleaned up. You know, I had the screwdriver out. I was cleaning out some drains, doing all that kind of stuff. You know, just getting caught up on some stuff around the house. I hope you enjoyed it as well. A lot of news over the weekend, and I didn't really keep up with a whole lot. I saw today that Eric Swalwell has become the first 2020 Democrat to drop out of the race. Yeah, it's like Eric Swalwell. We barely knew you. Well, you participated in one debate. You pretty much told Joe Biden he was real old, and now you're gone. You're done. More like Swalwelp. Am I right? That guy, he didn't fare too well in his presidential bid. Oh, he was confident. He was going to make it happen. It was going to be bold without the bull. Remember, well, he's gone, so I guess you're down to just 23 candidates. Listen, he couldn't even outlast Jay Inslee. He couldn't even outlast Seth Moulton. He couldn't even outlast Delaney, that little thumb-looking guy on the side of the stage. Hell, Bill de Blasio, mayor of New York, is still in it. Eric Swalwell, so confident, he wanted to take away your guns and use nuclear bombs on you if you didn't. So, yeah, it's just a wonder how he's not still in the running. He's not polling higher than 0. So he's out of there. And so now we've got the big news. I guess this isn't really, this is like not a government thing, but this guy is connected to a lot of politicians. Jeffrey Epstein, who I know very little about, but he has been indicted on charges of sex trafficking and a sex trafficking conspiracy. All right, this guy has been in all kinds of trouble. Prosecutors allege Epstein, the 66-year-old wealthy hedge fund manager, arrested on Saturday, preyed on dozens of victims as young as 14 years old. The victims described herein were as young as 14 at the time they were abused and were, for various reasons, often particularly vulnerable to exploitation. Prosecutors wrote in court documents, Epstein intentionally sought out minors and knew that his victims were in fact under the age of 18. Epstein allegedly created and maintained a vast network in operation from 2002 up to and including at least 2005 that enabled him to sexually exploit and abuse dozens of underage girls, in addition to paying victims to recruit other underage girls. Bad guy. All right. And this guy is connected to Bill Clinton. All right. He counted as friends former President Bill Clinton, Britain's Prince Andrew, and President Donald Trump. All right. So this guy is hobnobbed with multiple U.S. presidents and with royalty. And that's what everybody's saying now is like, uh-oh. The feds have seized evidence from his mansion, including, I guess, some DVDs or CDs with photos and or videos of some of this stuff. They say this guy had like some underage sex island, and Bill Clinton appeared on that manifest, on that flight, 27 some odd times. and that Donald Trump has been linked to this guy, friends or otherwise. Donald Trump, I think, brought this up either during a debate or some sort of appearance. He actually brought up Jeffrey Epstein. He says, I know there might be some problems with the Epstein stuff and Bill Clinton. So you gotta think about that. So, I mean, this was years ago. This is like 2016. Donald Trump was connecting Jeffrey Epstein to Bill Clinton. And so this is going to get ugly. I mean, just real evil stuff going on with this Jeffrey Epstein character. And then they talked to Christine Pelosi, daughter of Nancy Pelosi. Now, check this out. This is where it gets real shady. All right, here's the headline. Christine Pelosi warns it's quite likely that some of our faves are implicated in horrific Epstein case. Christine Pelosi, a Democratic National Committee official and daughter of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, warned conspicuously on Saturday evening that it's quite likely that some of our faves are implicated in the sex trafficking case against politically connected financier Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein due in court following his arrest on Saturday in New York on the sex trafficking charges. This Epstein case is horrific, and the young women deserve justice, tweeted Christine Pelosi. It's quite likely some of our favorites are implicated. We must follow the facts and let the chips fall where they may, whether on Republicans or Democrats. So it's unclear exactly who Pelosi is referring to, but you could go ahead and assume that Bill Clinton is one of those politicians. Maybe if not Donald Trump, he's also connected. So it shows here. It was 26 trips. Yeah, Bill Clinton took at least 26 trips flying aboard Epstein's private jet, which was known as the Lolita Express. And apparently, Bill Clinton ditched his Secret Service detail on some of the excursions. Records show that President Trump may have flown on the jet at least once. So I have to agree here that if any politician, Republican, Democrat, or other, if they're implicated in some of the sex trafficking that Jeffrey Epstein's been indicted for, you have to hold them to account. I mean, absolutely. But given what we've got with Bill Clinton, given what he's done, given what we know about him, his reputation coming out of the state house there in Arkansas as governor, given a whole context with Bill Clinton, I mean, that goes a lot farther than just the whispers about old Slick Willie, doesn't it? Going on 26 trips, sometimes without Secret Service, to what we can assume is Jeffrey Epstein's orgy island with young girls. Just completely disgusting. But it just confirms kind of what we already knew about Bill Clinton. I mean, him being a creep. This is the quote from Donald Trump. He was on Sean Hannity in 2015. Here's what it was. He's talking about Jeffrey Epstein. Trump says, nice guy. I got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. He says, a lot of problems, referring to Clinton's connection. Meanwhile, Trump biographer Tim O'Brien reposted an excerpt from a 2002 profile of Epstein in New York Magazine, in which Trump told a reporter, I've known Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. So that's a kind of an odd thing to say. Like, say people have known this. They called it the Lolita Express, kind of like an open secret. I think this guy was charged in 2008 for this kind of stuff, but he walked. And that now, given what you know now with Jeffrey Epstein, you have to look at who handled that case. And where was it? I was reading about this in 2008. He was either charged with getting with underage kids, and then it just wasn't pursued for whatever reason. So it's pretty gross stuff. But I mean, at this point with with Bill Clinton, you're not going to see a lot of people defending Bill Clinton. You know, Bill Clinton is kind of like, he's done. The party's done with him. They don't need the Clintons anymore. The Clintons don't run the DNC as they once did. In fact, they've destroyed it, left it in shambles. Now, here we go. Epstein's arrest, first reported by Daily Beast, came amid renewed scrutiny of the once-secret 2008 plea deal that ended the federal investigation against him. He ultimately served 13 months in jail and registered as a sex offender after pleading guilty to 2 lesser state prostitution charges, one involving a girl whom prosecutors called a prostitute, even though she was only 14 years old. Epstein faced a possible life sentence prior to that plea deal, which has been challenged in Florida federal court. The deal also required he reach financial settlements with dozens of his once teenage victims and register as a sex offender. Epstein's deal was overseen by former Miami U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta, who is now Trump's labor secretary. Acosta has defended the plea deal as appropriate under the circumstances, though the White House said in February that it was looking into his handling of the arrangement. So, look, this Jeffrey Epstein guy, the long and the short of it is, he was a donor, and he was connected politically, and he got away with this stuff. You don't have charge. You don't get a plea deal with a guy who preys on 14-year-old girls, a guy who's got tons of money. I mean, right now they've got to remand him, don't they? They can't let him go on bond. They got to hold on to this guy because he's rich and he's a flight risk, isn't he? This stuff is disgusting. So yeah, people are responding to it. We've got Nebraska GOP Senator Ben Sass released a statement calling for Epstein to be held without bail pending trial. This monster received a pathetically soft sentence last time, and his victims deserve nothing less than justice. Justice doesn't depend on the size of your bank account. But this guy's got a big bank account, and he's politically connected. And if you got the right friends, I mean, that's a lesson that everybody needs to learn, is that it's unfair, man. You got monsters like this running around, going to his private island with young girls with Bill Clinton 26 times. And hell, you knew about this guy in 2008 or even before. And it's just now coming out. Because that's what they do. They circle the wagons. They protect each other. And politicians, and again, whether it's Democrats, whether it's Republicans, you just have to find the facts and they will lead you where they may. So that's what everybody's talking about today, is this Jeffrey Epstein fella. We've got more to talk about. We got the news cruise. We will catch up on some of the fireworks shenanigans over the 4th of July weekend. Coming up, though, I want to talk more about what these soccer players actually make, men and women, and what's the beef with the World Cup champion U.S. women's national team and hashtag equal pay. And I think if you take a look at the value of a soccer player, both men and women, in the open market, I think you're going to get your answers. We'll do that next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Love everything about cars? Then check out my show, Auto Talk Live. I'll talk about everything automotive, from new cars to cool tech and car buying tips. Your escape from politics, reality shows, and everyday life. It's educational and entertaining. So join me, JP Palooga, every Friday from 8 to 9 a.m. for Auto Talk Live. Live on KWAM The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990.
When you're planning an event and need on-time delivery, call Odell Sanders. Sanders Catering has been in business for 31 years, specializing in breakfast, lunch, dinners, corporate, and social events. When you need a caterer to work with your budget, call Odell Sanders at 901-372-2631 or visit them online at sanderscatering.com and take a look at their menu. Sanders Catering, a leader in catering services. Call today at 901-372-2631.
Live from Memphis, it's the Eye on Memphis show with host Betty Lamar. Eye on Memphis is wall-to-wall conversations featuring top doctors and community leaders monitoring social disparities in healthcare. Eye on Memphis with Betty Lamar on KWAM The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990. Saturdays at 12 noon. Sponsored in part by AM Diabetes and Endocrinology Center in Bartlett.
I'm Ed Horrell, author of The Kindness Revolution. It's estimated that hundreds of thousands of children go to bed every night crying themselves to sleep because they're being bullied at school. If your child has told you that they're being bullied, take a minute to remember that it's taken a lot of courage for them to do that. Bullying is an enormous problem today in too many schools, and we as parents need to be watching for signs and be willing to listen to our children. To learn more, check us out at thekindnessrevolution.net.
Candid Conversations is on the air every Sunday at 2 p.m.
An abuser can seem emotionally needy. You can get caught in a trap of catering to him or her, so no matter how much you give him or her, it will never be enough. He will just keep coming up with more demands because he or she believes their needs are your responsibility.
Sunday afternoons at 2 p.m. with Dr. Rich and T.K. Carter here on KWAM.
The special event florist for the Mid-South is Lynn Doyle Flowers. They are famous for creating incredible floral arrangements and are available to fill even your last-minute needs. From the simple to the magnificent, their staff can create unique arrangements for your special occasion. Flowers always bring a smile, make someone's day, and for fast, convenient delivery, call Lynn Doyle Flowers today at 901-323-4521 or visit their beautiful new location at 6225 Old Poplar Pike.
The Dave Ramsey Show, weekdays from 9 to noon on The Voice.
Why are we so dumb about education? You cannot wander into this blindly and just pray that money drops from heaven. It's not going to. When you do that, that's called student loans. And then 30-year-old you is pissed off at the 20-year-old you for doing the stupid stuff. And so don't do that. Have a plan. Lay it out in detail.
The Dave Ramsey Show, weekdays from 9 to noon on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're in need of a professional cleaning service that takes your business as seriously as you do, call Jan Pro Cleaning Systems today. They understand how important it is to establish and maintain a professional image. That's why they offer the Jan Pro Signature Clean and the Jan Pro Guarantee. From regular scheduled cleaning to the tough stuff like stripping and waxing, buffing, carpet extractions, and detail cleaning, Jan Pro does it all. Call today for a free, no-obligation quote. 901-683-4900. Insured and bonded for your protection. Jan Pro Cleaning Systems. Measurable cleaning, guaranteed results.
Hi, this is Jim Shoemaker. Join me next Wednesday at 8 a.m. and again on Saturday morning with my special guest, Bob Dahl, Chief Equity Strategist and Senior Portfolio Manager of Nuveen Financial. Frank Bailey will also be with me talking about long-term care, why it should be a part of your long-term strategy. If you have questions for Talk Money, email them to talkmoney@shoemakerfinancial.com. That's Wednesday morning and again on Saturday at 9 a.m. Talk Money, The Voice, KWAM 990 and FM 107.9.
911, what is your emergency? My kid shot himself. All right, where's the wound, sir?
911, what's your emergency?
Please help. My son shot his brother. Okay.
Every day, 8 kids and teens are unintentionally killed or injured by loaded and unlocked guns.
It wasn't locked.
Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and End Family Fire.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube, Nation of Jake there on YouTube, also on Facebook and Twitter, Nation of Jake. All right, so, I was talking at length to G-Man, to my dad, to my buddy Ryan about the U.S. women's national team. They beat the Netherlands 2-0 in the finals of the World Cup. I mean, they are on top of it right now. And it's just kind of odd because the narrative is weird depending on what you read with the U.S. women's national team. They're saying, oh yeah, people were telling them to put up or shut up, win or apologize. And it's like, hold on, everybody knew they were going to win. Like, everybody knew. They came out of the gate, put like 13 goals on some team. I forget who the team was. And then they just, they had some close calls. They had some good tight games, and then maybe others that weren't so tight. But everybody knew that they were the best team in the tournament. They were the team to beat, right? So it's like, I don't get it. The favorites won. They are the team to beat, and they won. So it's like, all right, congratulations. Can we get to the USA part? But no, because instead, it's got to be about all the stuff that follows, all the politics, and now this wage gap, which is largely a myth, the wage gap. Women do not just make 72 cents on the dollar for men. I've recruited and hired people. We did not have different pay scales for men and women. What we had was different pay for different jobs. And being a female soccer player is a different job than being a male soccer player. But now it's all about equal pay. The U.S. women's national team, they want equal pay to what the men make. The U.S. men's national team. Now, here's where it gets complicated. It's all run by the same governing body, this federation, this company, U.S. Soccer. And I'm told through my research that women, they can expect to make a maximum salary from USA Soccer or USSF or whatever, the federation, about $99,000, about $5,000 for 20 exhibition matchups. Because again, the World Cup only comes around every 4 years. But that's a pretty good salary. I mean, I think that most people would love to make $100,000 a year, and even more people would love to make $100,000 a year playing a game. But so I did some of the research. USA soccer team salary, how much money do men versus women players make? All right. The U.S. soccer team salaries vary across U.S. women's national team and U.S. men's national team. Goalkeeper Ashlyn Harris told the New York Times that she expected to earn between $300,000 and $400,000 in 2019. An anonymous player noted their annual earnings were much less at $167,500. So you've also got sponsors like Luna Bar donated $700,000 to the U.S. women's national team, which made up the $31,250 per player difference between the men's and women's roster bonuses for making the World Cup. You see, when you make the World Cup and you win the World Cup, you get a roster bonus. The bonus for the men is way more than the bonus for the women. That's mostly because the men's World Cup makes a ton more money than the women's World Cup as far as revenues generated. U.S. women's national team members claimed in a recent lawsuit that their maximum salary in a typical year is $99,000. That's if the team had played and won 20 exhibition matchups. It would be more in a World Cup year because you would make more, you get the bonus. But in a typical year, you're going to make $99,000 playing soccer for the U.S. women's national team. Given the same circumstances, 20 exhibition matchups, winning them all, the men's team would earn $263,000. So that's 125% more than, say, a female player on the women's team. Now, is it right? It's irrelevant if it's right. That's what people get caught up in. Like, oh, what's fair is fair. The women's team's better than the men's team, right? They're better. Not really. They're not better than the men's team. The women's national team can't beat the men's national team. They perform better in their sport, which is a different sport, right? That's why you have separate teams. I'm not saying that all men are better than all women at soccer, but the best 25 players in the world on the U.S. men's national team would beat the U.S. women's national team. That's just a biological kind of deal there. Men are bigger and stronger and faster, and they would beat the women's team. But if you want to look at the market just for players, all right, if you are the U.S. Soccer Federation and you're paying to field a team full of men, you have to pay more money. Why? Because there's a bigger market for male soccer players out there. These soccer players who play for their country, they'll do that as a part-time gig. But they're out there playing for the MLS. Let's take that example of Michael Bradley, makes $6 million a year playing for Toronto FC. He makes $6 million just playing soccer over in Toronto. So if you want him to take time away from that job to come play for his country, risk injury, you've got to pay him. You got to make it worth his while. It's not an arbitrary number they're paying these people. So if the U.S. Soccer Federation wants to compete for World Cup championships, they got to get the best players. Well, what will those best players cost? Well, because the market is better for men globally in soccer, it's going to cost you more to get them to come play for you. Now, on the women's side, women's professional soccer, like Carly Lloyd plays for a team called the Orlando Pride of the NWSL. All right. Her maximum salary over there is going to be about $56,000 or 46 or 56 grand. That's about half what she can make on the U.S. women's national team. You see where I'm going with this? The U.S. women's national team in the market is actually a better deal than playing for the Orlando Pride. She can do both, but your obligations to a national team are going to supersede that of the professional team you play on, or whatever other opportunities you have professionally. So there's an opportunity cost there. It's going to cost more to get a male player because a male player is out there playing in a more competitive market, whereas the market for non-Team USA soccer for women is much smaller. They make much less. And so it's a bad faith comparison to say, oh, well, yeah, the women are better. They win more World Cups than the men. It's like, hold on a second. Yes, the U.S. women's national team should be over the moon proud. We should be proud of them. I don't want this to sound like that I am downplaying their victory. All right, let me be clear about one thing, if not anything else. Those women on the U.S. women's national team are better at playing soccer than I will be at anything I choose to do in my life. That is a fact. They're the best of the best. They are historically great at soccer. All right. That said, pay-wise, they're making about what they should make. Evidenced by nothing else, they've agreed to play for it, haven't they? They've agreed to play for the $99,000 maximum year in a typical year salary. And I think that's what it comes down to. If that's not enough money for you, forget the men, forget what they make, different game, different market. If a typical year of you playing soccer for the U.S. women's national team nets you $99,000 and that's not enough for you, then maybe you would like to find something else to do that would pay you more, or maybe that wasn't so physically demanding. I'm almost certain that most, if not all, of these women are not quitting the national team to go be teachers or to go work in an office or do radio shows. But they look over and they say, the men make more. Why do they make more? They're not as good. Well, their team doesn't perform as well in a different sport against men in a global market that is bigger for men's soccer. Again, World Cup revenues in 2015, when the U.S. women's national team won, was like $73 million. And then 2018, 3 years later, men's World Cup revenues generated $6 billion. It's just it's a different market. And you can't just say, oh, yeah, the market, yada, yada. You can't just say, hey, we just feel slighted. What we're doing is historic and we're not making as much as those guys. We want equal pay. Well, it goes back to it. Well, do you want equal pay or you just want more money? Because USSF could make it equal pay. They could take the men down, say, you know what? Megan Rapinoe's right. Your team's not that good. You guys aren't performing. You guys aren't qualifying for World Cups, much less winning them. So we're going to take you guys down to the same pay. We're going to make equal pay. That wouldn't make it right for everybody, because when everybody says equal pay, they don't mean equal pay. They mean I want more money for me. That's what they want. They want it. I mean, the market be damned. Forget the fact that you're making twice as much as the highest paid player on a professional team, let's say in a non-World Cup year, because let's face it, people don't get excited unless it's World Cup or Olympics. You might have some friendlies. You might have some exhibition matches. I'm not so sure what the interest level is. You play a limited amount of games, 20 games in a year. 20 games in a year. That's like fewer than one a month. Hold on, 2 a month. Fewer than 2 a month. There's my math. That's why I'm not so good with the math there. So, look, you've got these women who play, and they're making a fine living. They're not making 30 grand. They're not making $11.07 an hour. The goalkeeper's making between $300,000 and $400,000. Another anonymous player is making $167 grand. Alex Morgan is going to make $1 million. She's got some earning potential there. You know, she can go to Sports Illustrated and she can do the swimsuit issue. She can go pitch products like the Luna bars and the Gatorades and whatnot. So she's going to make $1 million. It's a much better living than most people make, especially most people make playing soccer. Like I said, if you want to go and really compare apples to apples, what are other women's teams making? If you want to go, there's a lot of these women's teams that don't make much at all. We're talking about $5 grand a year. We're talking about, you think the Nigerian national team makes close to that? Do you think that market is going to support them doing a bunch of endorsements? No. So, I mean, it's a pretty good deal right now. That said, I mean, it's insane. Like, just to think that disparity I brought up earlier. Like, women, if winning the World Cup, it's like the payout is $200 grand for the women winning the World Cup, the max earnings. But then for the men, it's like $1.1 million, the payout for those earnings. That just goes back to it. The Women's World Cup generated like $130 million, and then $6 billion for the Men's World Cup. It's not even close. I mean, it all comes down to this. It's like players in one sport that has a smaller market share make less than players in a different sport that's got a bigger market share. It's all about the numbers. It's all about the market. You can't just yada the market. All right, so it's just giving. It's not about equal pay. It's about more pay. I mean, just be honest. Say, hey, we want more money. We want more money. This team is awesome. We want more money. It's like, okay, then why don't you negotiate for more money? Don't you have like a meeting? Don't you have a players union like every other sport? Didn't we miss a World Series because of a players union in 1994? A labor strike? Didn't we have a shortened NBA season? Go do something else. Don't take their money. You think it's unfair. Just don't. Go play for the Orlando Pride or the Portland Storm and then make your 46 grand. The market forces don't go away just because it's the same organization paying the wages. That's what it really comes down to. Yeah, look, the NWSL, the Women's Professional Soccer League, is a separate organization from the MLS. But it doesn't mean just because one organization is paying two different teams, it doesn't mean the market forces go away. And it's all about the invisible hand. But no. Equal pay. What's fair is fair. It's an appeal to emotion, and it just doesn't work. So you're going to have guys like Luna Bar and all these other companies step in as a means to virtue signal, we believe in equal pay. And it's like, yeah, but it's not an apples to apples comparison. It's a bad faith comparison. But it's going to toy with your emotions. Oh, it's not fair. Fair. It sound like children. It's not fair. $6 billion versus $130 million. Do the math. All right, coming up, we got the news cruise. We'll do it next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News update. More than a decade after facing similar charges in Florida, billionaire financier Jeffrey Epstein pleaded not guilty to sex crime charges involving minors in New York. The FBI's William Sweeney.
For at least a 4-year period covering the entirety of 2002 through 2005, he is alleged to have sexually exploited and abused dozens of minor girls at his homes in New York City and in Palm Beach, Florida.
U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman wants Epstein jailed pending trial.
We think he has every incentive to try and flee the jurisdiction. And when you have 2 planes and you live much of the year abroad, we think that's a very real risk.
CBS's Hillary Lane.
This is the second time federal prosecutors have gone after Epstein. Back in 2008, there was outrage after federal prosecutors struck a plea deal without consulting his victims.
CBS News Update, I'm Pam Coulter.
This is Sherry from the 19 Strong Show. The politics of Memphis can be unnecessarily complicated and sometimes just downright shady. On Saturdays, the 19 Strong team works hard to dissect the issues and shed some light on the council and administration's decisions and how they truly impact you and Memphis. Join me and my better half for the latest council news and colorful commentary. On Saturdays at 1, join us for your weekly chat rant right here on KWAM 990.
Triumph Bank strives to make banking easy for our customers. You have a lot of choices when it comes to banks, so we invite you to visit one of our local offices in Memphis, Germantown, Collierville, and Arlington to see for yourself how our team, backed by our state-of-the-art online and mobile services, can simplify banking for you and your business. Triumph Bank, invested in our communities and making banking easy for you. Triumph is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. TriumphBank.com. Let's talk growth.
Free Talk Live.
Put up a barrier on the border.
Like a Great Wall?
I think that's secure. And then you put a moat underneath.
Holy crap, alligators in the moat?
You can put sensors on there. The motion detector.
Motion tracking machine guns, too. They just spit out some 50 cals at them if it moves.
I mean, ninjas, that's what we need. The border ninjas.
Free Talk Live, Sunday through Friday nights on KWAM, The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.crylike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.crylike.com.
This is Clark Howard. Recently, I talked about the problem with cars that have keyless entry, where you have a fob, there's no key that you have to turn, you just hit a start button. And the problem with people dying, because when they get home, they'll be distracted on a phone call, or they'll be getting groceries out or whatever, they forget to turn the car off, and then they die from carbon monoxide poisoning, the silent killer. Well, there's a very simple way for you to take care of this that I neglected to say, and that is you need to have carbon monoxide detectors in your home anyway. They're as cheap now as $12, usually more like $20. You buy them, you put them all around your house. I know this goes in the territory of paranoia, but being killed silently, that's not my idea of fun. So particularly if you have a car with a keyless remote, put in more carbon monoxide detectors in your home.
Have you heard what President Trump said recently?
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too.
Now you can watch Newsmax TV and get the truth about Trump from Bill O'Reilly, Mike Reagan, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, and more. Newsmax TV is America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in 70 million homes. Find Newsmax on DirecTV, Dish, Xfinity, Spectrum, Optimum, Fios, Uverse, and more systems. See Newsmax TV today. It's real news for real people.
Hey, Mike, how's the house coming along?
Needs a ton of work. The pipes are leaking. Needs a new roof. The AC just broke. I just don't have time to do it all myself. You know anyone?
Oh, just ask Home Advisor. They match you with the best local pros for any home project.
Cool.
Yeah, you can read reviews and book appointments online.
What's it cost?
Actually, Home Advisor is always free to use.
Nice. I'll check it out.
Go to HomeAdvisor.com or download the free app.
Home Advisor.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube, the YouTube channel, Nation of Jake, the podcast. Subscribe to that on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, wherever fine podcasts are heard. That'll be uploaded and ready shortly after the program concludes. Right now, we have to hop on the news cruise. This is a leisurely look at the headlines. We'll make it a quick one today, though.
News. Exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you. The news cruise. Full of exciting news. The news cruise. So relax and kick off your shoes.
Welcome aboard the News Cruise. It is brought to you by our friends at Just Windows Home Services. 751-3934, 751-3934. They don't do just windows. Even though they're called Just Windows, they do more than that. They can clean your blinds, chandeliers, ceiling fans. This time of year, they get a lot of people calling them at 751-3934 to clean out gutters and to also do pressure washing, and you can call them as well. And when you call them, it's different, because you tell them the Nation of Jake told you to call them at 751-3934, and you'll get 20% off of anything you need done. They'll give you a free estimate. You say, hey, Nation of Jake, and then boom, 20% off that estimate just like that. 751-3934, Just Windows Home Services. All right, so I told you guys that Friday, the day after the 4th of July, is not the best day for the shenanigans that went on the 4th. You kind of have to wait until the weekend or the Monday after before all the stories about 4th of July hijinks come out. This is not so good. 5 teens arrested in downtown July 4th assault. Yeah. A victim told police he was with his family at the riverfront when he was hit by fireworks. When he confronted the teen who shot fireworks at him, he was assaulted by a group of teens downtown. The victim's girlfriend was also assaulted. 5 teens are charged with aggravated assault. 2 16-year-old females, a 16-year-old male, and 2 15-year-old males. So a mob, after pelting a guy with fireworks, then jumped him. We have, let's see, yeah, you know what? You go downtown on 4th of July, you know, it's kind of like an insult to injury. And you get a bottle rocket, shot at you, and then you get punched, and your family's scared to death. But they've got 5 teens arrested in that whole deal. Now that's not a fun story for the 4th of July. You got to go down to Florida for the more fun stories. Now this is 4th of July hijinks that really not well thought out. We got a Florida man. He told sheriff's deputies that he threw firecrackers under the bed of a sleeping 9-year-old girl in what he calls a prank gone wrong. Not sure that was a prank gone wrong, or really just a bad decision by you, Matthew Morrison. Matthew Morrison, 44, of Crestview, Florida, was arrested after deputies responded to a home after the explosion woke the little girl. Now, the owner of the house where this happened told the sheriff's office that Morrison lives in a tent outside the house, came inside without permission, and then he put the fireworks under the sleeping little girl's bed. The explosion scared her, made her cry and shake. Morrison was arrested and charged with burglary, child cruelty, and possession of a controlled substance after deputies found 2 grams of methamphetamine in his pockets. So he says it was just a prank gone wrong. Like, what could have gone wrong? I'm living out here in a tent. I got meth in my pocket. I'm going to go into these people's houses uninvited and throw firecrackers under a 9-year-old girl's bed. It was a prank, but it went wrong. Come on, man, that is... again, but also, who just lets a guy in a tent with methamphetamine sleep outside their house? That's a Florida story for you. We've got an update on the beaches down in South Mississippi. If you are traveling this summer, just be warned. The entire shoreline of the Mississippi Gulf Coast is now under the same water warning tied to the blue-green algae bloom. And blue-green algae has infested the waters. It's like all matted on top, floating on top. And if you go swimming in that part of the bay or the Gulf, it could make you sick. A water contact advisory from the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality remains in effect for a segment of the Jordan River in Hancock County, from the I-10 bridge to the mouth of the river into Bay St. Louis. The toxic algae has been found in sampling taken at the Pass Christian Harbor, the Bay St. Louis Harbor, and the Long Beach Harbor. So pretty much all around there, I-10, Highway 90, it's all closed. Sand portions remain open. You can't go near the water. You can't eat fish that you catch. You got crab traps out there hanging from a train bridge or something. Don't eat the crabs. Don't do it. Now, listen, look, I grew up every summer of my life on those beaches. And as somebody who's experienced the beaches on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, I can't advise it's ever okay to get in that water, even if there's not blue-green algae. All right, it is dirty. It is nasty. Under the water is not sand, but mud. It's brown. It's gross. So they should just keep the beaches permanently closed down there. Don't swim in that water. Go find some nice person with a pool. And then maybe if you want to go out and build a sandcastle, well, you need water for that. Just stay off those beaches. They're gross. All right, what else we got? Oh, here we go. We've got, so many. This story's awful. Did you hear about this? Young woman who was piloting a small aircraft, a Cessna, and she crash-landed onto a golf course at Ole Miss, and she died as a result. Elizabeth Lake Little, 18 years old, crashed the Cessna 172 onto the golf course, started a large fire. Some golfers there on the course tried to help, but at that point it was too late. She was planning on going into the Air National Guard. So that's awful. Like, I mean, you've got a lot of questions as to what could have gone wrong. The answer is a lot. A lot can go wrong no matter what kind of aircraft you're manning.
It overheated.
The aircraft, I'm told, maybe overheated, and I'm sure that they've investigated and they're trying to make sense of that. What also doesn't make sense is our final story here in the news cruise. We've got another ice cream liquor. People have been going around, I guess, videotaping themselves, opening up the freezer section at the grocery store, opening up some ice cream, whether it's a gallon or a pint, licking it, and then placing it back on the shelf. Well, the latest copycat ice cream licker was arrested in Louisiana in the weeks after he was caught on video licking the ice cream. Lenise Martin III was taken into custody after a video of him circulating online apparently showed him doing the deed. Martin appears to open a tub of ice cream, lick it, touch it with his finger, and then place it back on the freezer shelf. They're saying now you can get like 20 years in jail for doing this kind of stuff. And for what? And for what, a viral video? You're going to get caught. It's the worst idea in the world. What's the payoff here? What do you have to gain by licking somebody else's ice cream? Or having somebody unknowingly eat the ice cream that you've licked? That's a worse idea than throwing the firecrackers under the girl's bed. What? Anyway. All right, coming up, we will wrap things up, get you handed over to Earl Farrell. I wonder if Earl Farrell has heard about the first 2020 Democrat to drop out of the presidential race. We'll discuss that and get you set up for the Earl Farrell program next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Planning for retirement can be confusing and overwhelming. Tune in to the Servant Retirement Show to hear the current news and events today's retirees need to know. Every Saturday morning at 8 on KWAM, The Voice, AM 990. If you want to talk to Dan Groban or Philip Menard today about your retirement plans, call the team at Servant Advisors Group, 855-260-1000. That's 855-260-1000. Get started on the path toward a comfortable retirement today. 855-260-1000.
If you're thinking about retirement, you've got to know it's all about income. Your money making money. The Retirement Income Doctor wants to teach you how it's done. Give us a call and we'll send you a free animated video kit. 848-2-INCOME. 848, the number 2, income. And tune us in, the Retirement Income Doctor, Saturday mornings at 10. Call now for your free income kit. 848-2-INCOME. 848-2-INCOME.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs. There's little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows, storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com. All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9 AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com, streaming live on YouTube. For just a few minutes more, the podcast will be up shortly after the program concludes. All right, so, and then there were 23. That's right, there are now just 23 Democrats running for president, down from 24. We had a guy drop out. Yeah, Eric Swalwell will no longer be running for president. And I'm not sure that he ever had a chance. I'm not sure why he decided to run. He knew he didn't have a chance. And right now, this is all about fundraising. All right, if you can't stay in if you don't have the money. If you're polling at 0%, you're not going to convince anybody to open up their wallets and give you money. I'm surprised that he even met the threshold for that first debate. He has to be the most unlikable of those 24 people.
Yeah, I never liked him.
I mean, think about it. I mean, having the most punchable face out of 24 people, that's a feat. I mean, that's hard to do. I mean, you think if you're lined up with 24 people, all you got to do is be just a little bit less unlikable than somebody else. I'm not sure that Eric Swalwell was able to do that. And it didn't go well for Eric Swalwell. It went rather poorly. This is my favorite memory, where Eric Swalwell was trying to get a big applause line, and he pauses so the audience can go crazy, and they just don't.
But I will always be real with you. I will be bold without the bold.
Crickets.
What does that mean?
Just be bold without the bull. I don't know. Maybe he just thought that was good alliteration or something. So he's out of there. He couldn't even outlast Jay Inslee, former governor of Washington. Hell, he dropped out before the guy Steve Bullock from Montana, who couldn't even qualify for the debates. There is a self-help author named Marianne Williamson who is still in the race while Eric Swalwell is done. I love this. You know what? I'm going to miss him, though. I'm going to miss him because who else are we going to make fun of? Oh, there's plenty of people to still make fun of. This is a long way to go. Earl, you think anybody else will throw their hat in the ring?
Well, there's always talk of Michelle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Michelle Obama, maybe. I don't know, maybe President Starbucks will get back in.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll be in there as the spoiler, the independent. It could happen. All right, Earl Farrell is up next. I'll be back tomorrow at 1. In the meantime, so long, and thanks for all the fish.
The Mid-South station with the most